Doug Massey here, and today I'm going to be going over what I believe to be the best leads and the worst leads for remote life insurance and or final expense sales, starting with the worst leads, and then we're going to basically work our way up to my very favorite lead in the industry. And yes, a thumbs up would be appreciated, and you might consider subscribing if you're a new viewer, new to the channel. We're putting out new life insurance content and final expense sales agent training videos like all the time. And check this out. Stick around to the end of the video. I'm going to show you how to get the policy summary that we mail out to everybody that we sell remotely, and or we end up leaving it if we're doing a face-to-face sale with the client at the time of the purchase. And let's get started with what I believe to be the worst lead in the insurance world. Any lead that is referred to as an aged lead most likely has already been sold and or worked by other agents. And guys, just my opinion, honestly, this is something that I would not wish on my worst enemy, so to speak. First off, any lead over 90 days old must be checked and scrubbed against the DNC list. Second, if the lead has been issued to a different agent, another agent, pre-released to a previous agent, it is considered illegal and non-compliant as of June of 2024. Well, actually, they're pushing that back to January of 2025, basically to give the agencies time to figure out what to do. The ones that are basically doing these reselling of leads, which has, I believe, something to do with why Assurant IQ went out of business, why they were closed down. Back in December of 2023, the FCC ruled that due to shared leads being called by multiple telemarketers to the point where they were just harassing people, from one telemarketer to the next, that it's just wrong. I mean, we can all agree on that, right? That's just not cool. So what they decided is once a lead has been called by one person, one insurance agent, it may not be shared with another agent. And here's the crazy part. With the consent, the client has to, check a box, and actually it's got to show the names of the exact agents who are going to be calling it. So it's got to be shown that it's going to be shared by multiple agents or potentially multiple companies. And so, that's not going to work. People are not going to sign a box saying, yeah, I can be called by 100 people. So it's just not going to happen. And this is also the same reason that they outlawed press one leads and robocalls and calls by artificial intelligence. Guys, you got to understand, we all deserve to have some level of privacy, and just because somebody fills out a lead form should not leave them open to getting calls to the point to where they're just being, bothered and harassed constantly. The next lead that I would never waste my time using is a telemarketer or telemarketed lead. Basically, the telemarketer in most cases from an overseas call center is calling the same list of people over and over and over until the call center has filled that order, the order of the leads. When the prospect answers the cold call, they are asked if it's okay for an insurance agent to call them back with a quote for the insurance. So think about this. They are being called out of the blue and haven't shown any interest whatsoever and are only saying yes. Now, here's the interesting part. When being polled, seniors are admitting that the only reason they say yes about getting that call back, on the telemarketer lead, was so that the harassing phone calls would stop. Yeah, those things are just crap. And this part is a little bit controversial, but the FCC ruling that was made back in December specifically stated that once a lead is called, that it may not be contacted by a different person. This is now basic TCPA compliance. These leads / list of names, I mean, think about it. They're a list, so they're leads, were purchased and are being called by multiple telemarketers. So let's see if we share the same common sense. Isn't the call center using multiple telemarketers to call the same name on their list? And isn't that list of names being sold to multiple call centers and or telemarketers? And didn't the FCC state that once a lead has been called by one person, you know where I'm heading, due to the harassing nature, that it may not be called again? by someone else. So with that being said, telemarketed leads are not only terrible, but they are going to be illegal in January of 2025 and no longer compliant. If you get caught calling the wrong person, you are at risk for being sued for thousands and thousands of dollars, whether you think you did anything wrong or not. And guys, this especially goes for call transfers generated by a telemarketer. I mean, lawyers are just sitting around with their recorded lines waiting for telemarketers and or insurance agents to call them so that they can basically purchase the insurance and then sue the agent, potentially sue the agency, and believe it or not, even the insurance carrier. Yes. Offshore call centers and their owners have nothing to lose because they can't be sued by American attorneys. So working this type of lead is pretty much just waiting for disaster to happen. I mean, you're begging for it. Let's talk about internet leads, Google leads, maybe TikTok lead, Facebook lead, and other leads similar to this. Now, right off the bat, this type of lead is a better lead for the simple fact that the prospect saw something that got their attention, right? And they filled out a request form themselves showing interest and intent, on their own. They did it all on their own. These type of leads vary from different levels of interest, which is often reflected in the cost that was spent to generate the lead, which means that the quality of these type of leads will vary from lead to lead. It's as simple as that, really. Some of these ads state that this is specifically about buying life insurance, and other of these ads will tend to lead the prospect to believe that they're filling out some type of form in order to get something that's potentially free through the government, which is why it drives me nuts when I see ads from these companies that are selling, their social media advertising platforms where they state that, the so-and-so agent is getting leads for $3 each. Guys, we all know what the quality of this $3 lead is, and it's not going to be pretty. However, from an insurance agent and professional salesperson's point of view, if I can get a lot of these cheap leads and put them into a dialer, then I will be able to make presentations and develop interest and, inadvertently sell life insurance. And this is probably the most common lead generated and is, I would say, used by most insurance agents for the simple fact they can get a lot of these internet type of leads, and in most cases at an affordable price, whether the agent is purchasing them from a lead vendor or generating them on their own or not. In my opinion, yeah, you were going to get this. It was coming, so here it is. You are better off generating internet leads on your own to avoid the potentially higher costs charged from the lead vendors. Whether they are from Google or Facebook or wherever the World Wide Web sends you. However, and this is where reality comes into play, gotta mention this, gotta bring up the good with the bad. Most insurance agents cannot generate their own leads at a viable or sensible cost due to the saturation of competitors, other advertisers, and due to the fact that most of the ads that I see on Facebook and Google are just not gonna generate a feasible lead. For example, I can promise you that the quality of the leads that we generate at our agency are going to be much higher and at a lower cost than what your typical advertiser or insurance agent will end up generating on their own. You see, we use the most up-to-date technology, and with the use of artificial intelligence have actually figured out a way where our agents' ads are being showed to potential prospects before your ad, before it gets shown to the same prospect, which means in most cases, we're getting them first, guys. We're getting them second, and then we're getting them in the end too. So let's just talk about preset appointments like what we do, where the client sees an ad on the internet, they fill out a lead form, like everybody else does, and then they set an appointment on your calendar to speak with you, the insurance agent, about getting a quote for the affordable life insurance. In my opinion, this may not be the number one best ultimate lead, but it definitely is the best lead per value. And truth, guys, and again, my opinion, this may not be the most awesome ultimate best lead, but it definitely is the best lead for the value that you're getting, the best ROI lead. However, with a system like this, the way that we use it at my agency, our agents are getting 20 to over 30 appointments on average every single day, and at an affordable and extremely reasonable average cost per appointment, which, you got to take it in mind, the system that we use of not only making sure that the agent has several appointments on average every day, but an abnormally large number of these appointments. Potentially you, a solid professional salesperson in the position to just kill it in the senior market, which is why we have some of the highest producing final expense agents in the country working with us, using our calendar appointments platform. Let's talk about the number one lead, the highest intent lead currently used for final expense sales and or life insurance sales. The inbound television lead, otherwise known as the television commercial call-in lead, which is exactly what it sounds like. I mean, think about it. The prospect sees a TV commercial about the importance of, making sure that their family doesn't get stuck with the burden, blah, 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 of having to pay for the funeral, by making sure that they have a life insurance policy in place designed just to do that. Pay for the funeral. And of course, there are pitfalls about this type of lead. First, they're really expensive. So if you're not already a talented professional closer / salesperson, they're probably not gonna work for you. I mean, we're seeing these type of leads going for, I wanna say a little over 50 bucks each to around $80 per lead. So if you are a talented closer and you do have the right commission levels, at least I wanna say 100, 110%, then yes, you can actually do pretty darn good with this type of lead. A second pitfall is that, well, it's hard to find a good insurance agency that will give you fair commissions along with access to this type of lead. Guys, they're just not easy to generate, So the agencies, they can't just give it away, Otherwise, I mean, think about it. If they were that easy to generate, everybody'd be doing it, right? Third pitfall, from October to December during Medicare annual enrollment and open enrollment, the competition for these television advertising spots is really high. And the cost is way higher to the point to where some companies will flat out tell their agents that they're not going to be able to generate leads during that time of year. You're basically taking a couple of months off. End of the day, you, the insurance agent, will have to, without a better way of putting it, pay your dues. And what I mean by that is that you're going to need to figure out your way on your own, what works best for you through trial and error. Guys, there's no way to avoid it. For a copy of the policy summary that I mentioned back at the beginning of the video, just email me at doug@ufesonline.com. If you'd like more information on working with us and having access to that killer remote sales calendar appointments platform, just shoot me an email at that same address. As always, when you put the needs of your clients first, everything else will usually fall right into place. Whatever happens, make sure that you do something really good for someone else today. Happy hunting.